Cubs fans, take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you will send your hearts racing, your mind spinning, and your faith in this magical 2025 season into complete overdrive. We're living through something absolutely extraordinary right now at Wrigley Field, something that has all the drama, suspense, and raw emotion that only baseball can deliver. Picture this, a slugger who's been in the most brutal slump of his career, suddenly exploding back to life in the most important series of the season. A rookie phenom making plays that have veteran scouts texting their front offices at midnight, and lurking behind it all, a contract negotiation that could either cement this team's championship destiny or shatter Cubs fans' hearts into a million pieces. The whispers are getting louder around Wrigleyville. Cubs fans, the trade deadline is approaching like a freight train. Our division rivals refuse to lose. And there's one massive elephant in the room that every single person in this organization knows is coming. We're talking about a decision that could cost $500 million. Yes, you heard that right. $500 million. But first, let me tell you about Saturday night in St. Louis, because what happened against our most hated rivals was nothing short of pure magic. What happened was the kind of performance that reminds you why we bleed Cubby blue, why we've suffered through decades of heartbreak, and why this year feels different than any other. Hit that like button right now if you're ready for this emotional journey, Cubs fans, because what I'm about to share will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about this team's ceiling. Drop a comment below about which part of this story hits you the hardest, and make sure you're subscribed because the next few weeks are gonna be absolutely insane. The ace was struggling, the veteran was fighting through his demons, and the front office? They're staring down a decision that will define this franchise for the next decade. Cubs fans, buckle up, because this story starts with redemption and ends with a choice that could change everything. Cubs fans, Michael Busch just reminded every single person in baseball why this Cubs offense is absolutely lethal when it's clicking on all cylinders. Saturday night in St. Louis wasn't just a win. It was a statement, a declaration of war, and a masterpiece all rolled into one magnificent 9-1 beatdown of our most despised rivals. Let me paint this picture for you, Cubs fans. The Cardinals fans were probably feeling pretty good about themselves, thinking they could slow down our momentum. Then Michael Busch stepped into the box in the first inning and absolutely tattooed a double that set the tone for what would become a historic offensive explosion. But that was just the appetizer, Cubs fans. The main course was coming in the second inning, with Dansby on second and then Matt Shaw working a walk like the professional hitter he's becoming. Michael Busch had stepped back into the box with runners in scoring position. What happened next was pure poetry in motion. Cubs fans, he absolutely demolished a 3-run homer that had Cardinals fans heading for the X's before the third inning even started. The crack of the bat, the flight of the ball, the silence of the Busch Stadium crowd. It was everything we've been dreaming about. But here's what has Cubs fans buzzing with electricity right now. This wasn't just one player having a night. Carson Kelly was dealing hits like he was back in his prime, collecting 3 hits and driving in runs with the clutch gene we thought we'd never see again. Matt Shaw launched his 8th home run of the year, proving that this rookie class isn't just talented. They're ready to win right now. Cubs fans, we scored in each of the first 5 innings. Let me repeat that because it deserves to sink in. Each of the first 5 innings. When was the last time you saw a Cubs offense clicking like that? When was the last time we completely dismantled a division rival with such surgical precision? Colin Rea was dealing on the mound, our bullpen was locked down, and everything that could go right did go right. But Cubs fans, while we're celebrating this beautiful destruction of the Cardinals, there's something brewing in the background that has everyone in the organization holding their breath. Because the player who's supposed to be leading this championship charge, he's been fighting through something that has Cubs fans walking on eggshells every single day. Cubs fans, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and his name is Kyle Tucker. Shoo! While Michael Busch and Matt Shaw were putting on a show in St. Louis, our superstar right fielder has been grinding through the kind of slump that keeps managers awake at night and fans refreshing their Twitter feeds every 5 minutes. Kyle Tucker didn't sugarcoat it when reporters asked him about his recent struggles, Cubs fans. Not great, he said, with the kind of brutal honesty that either terrifies you or makes you respect him even more. Just doing the best I can. Gotta grind through it. Try and figure it out and turn it around. Those words hit different when they're coming from a player we traded our future for, Cubs fans. Let me break down just how rough it's been for Kyle Tucker, because the numbers will make your stomach turn. In his last 7 games, he's slashing .297, .357, .261 with 8 strikeouts, 0 home runs, and just 2 RBIs. 0 home runs? Cubs fans, this is the same player who was supposed to be our missing piece, our championship catalyst, our answer to everything that's been missing from this lineup. The most telling moment? Kyle Tucker actually took himself out of the final game against Cincinnati. Think about that for a second, Cubs fans. A player of his caliber, a player making $16.5 million this season, a player we gave up significant prospects for. He needed a mental reset so badly that he stepped away from the lineup. That's not a slump, Cubs fans. That's a crisis of confidence. But here's what's eating at Cubs fans right now. We're 5 games back in the division while our supposed superstar is fighting his demons at the plate. The Brewers keep winning, our window feels like it's closing, and the one player who was supposed to put us over the top is admitting he's not great to reporters. The timing couldn't be worse, Cubs fans. Kyle Tucker said it himself. That's how baseball goes sometimes, and you need to ride the wave and turn things around as quickly as possible. But Cubs fans, how much time do we have? How long can we wait for him to figure it out while the Brewers pull further ahead? And most importantly, how does this slump affect the massive decision that's looming over this entire organization? Because Cubs fans, while Kyle Tucker is trying to find his swing, the front office is staring down a choice that could define the next decade of Cubs baseball. A choice that involves more money than most of us can even comprehend. Cubs fans, brace yourselves for the bombshell that's about to rock Wrigleyville to its core. While Kyle Tucker battles through his slump and Michael Busch launches moonshots against the Cardinals, there's a $500 million elephant in the room that could either secure our championship future or tear our hearts out completely. Kyle Tucker is about to become the most expensive free agent in Cubs history. Cubs fans, we're not talking about $200 million or $300 million anymore. We're talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. money. We're talking about a contract that could reach $500 million, and some insiders think it could go even higher. Former MLB general manager Jim Bowden is predicting Kyle Tucker will land a deal starting at $600 million. $600 million. Let that sink in, Cubs fans. The same player who just told reporters he's not great right now is about to command the kind of contract that would make Juan Soto jealous. And here's the terrifying part. If we don't pay it, the Yankees will. The Red Sox will. The Dodgers will. Every big market team in baseball is circling like vultures, waiting to steal the player we traded our future to acquire. Cubs fans, this is where it gets emotional. After Vladimir Guerrero Jr. signed his $500 million extension with Toronto, Kyle Tucker became the undisputed crown jewel of free agency. He's younger than when Guerrero signed, he plays a more premium position, and his overall value as a complete player, defense, base running, clutch hitting, makes him worth every penny. The projections are starting at $40 million per year over 12 seasons. That's Cubs history. Cubs fans. But here's what's keeping Cubs management awake at night. This organization has never handed out a contract larger than $184 million they gave Jason Hayward, and we all know how that ended. Can Tom Ricketts and the front office really justify spending $500 million on one player? Are they willing to break every financial precedent in Cubs history to keep Kyle Tucker in Chicago? Cubs fans, if we lose Kyle Tucker to free agency after trading away prospects and watching him struggle through slumps, it would be the most devastating blow to this franchise since Steve Bartman. The thought of watching him rake for the Yankees or Red Sox while we're stuck rebuilding again is enough to make any Cubs fan sick. Make sure you smash that like button if you want. Kyle Tucker back in Cubs blue next season, Cubs fans. Drop a comment below with your prediction for his contract value. And hit subscribe because this offseason is gonna be the most dramatic in Cubs history. Cubs fans, we are living through a crossroads moment that will define our championship window. We have the talent, the momentum, and the pieces in place. But do we have the ownership willing to back up the Brinks truck for Kyle Tucker? The clock is ticking, Cubs fans. How much are we willing to pay for greatness?